Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Air India flight AI-171 Ahmedabad-London Gatwick crashes in Gujarat's Meghani Nagar with 242 people on board just after takeoff. Prime Minister Narendra Modi takes stock of the Air India crash. Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu reaches the accident site. Home Minister Amit Shah, expected shortly in Gujarat, assures all possible central assistance to the state. Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau dispatches its investigation team to identify the cause of the Air India plane crash at the Ahmedabad airport. And condolences pour in from across the world. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer calls the Ahmedabad crash devastating. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney also expresses grief. An Air India flight AI-171 Ahmedabad to London Gatwick has crashed in Gujarat's Meghani Nagar. As per information received, there were 242 people on board. The 787 Dreamliner aircraft took off at 1:39 p.m. local time and crashed just 5 minutes after takeoff in a residential area. Prime Minister Narendra Modi personally spoke to the Minister of Civil Aviation, Ram Mohan Naidu, and took stock of the Air India flight crash incident in Ahmedabad. Prime Minister has directed the Minister to ensure all necessary support is extended immediately and asked to be kept regularly updated on the situation. All relevant agencies are on high alert and coordinated efforts are underway. Further, Home Minister Amit Shah is also en route to Gujarat. He has spoken to Gujarat Chief Minister over the phone line and assured all possible central assistance. A green corridor to transport the injured passengers for treatment and to hospitals is being established. Gujarat's Additional Chief Secretary Dhananjay Dwivedi confirmed there were 230 passengers on board along with crew members. The crash site includes Ahmedabad Civil Hospital students, hostel staff quarters and nearby residential areas.
171 फ्लाइट में अहमदाबाद से लंदन जाने के लिए 230 पैसेंजर की बुकिंग थी। उसके सिवाय क्रू मेंबर भी थे। दुर्भाग्यपूर्वक दोपहर के 1:40 बजे के आसपास प्लेन टेक ऑफ होने के साथ ही दुर्घटनाग्रस्त बना। जिस विस्तार में प्लेन क्रैश होकर गिरा है वहां पे अहमदाबाद सिविल हॉस्पिटल के विद्यार्थियों के हॉस्टल, स्टाफ क्वार्टर और अन्य रेजिडेंशियल विस्तार है। उस विस्तार के लोगों को भी ईजा पहुंची है। 50 जितने घायल व्यक्तियों को सिविल हॉस्पिटल अहमदाबाद लाया गया है, जिन्हें श्रेष्ठ सारवार दी जा रही है। अभी वो सघन सारवार में परंतु स्टेबल परिस्थिति में है।
The Additional Chief Secretary also said that DNA testing arrangements have been made for swift identification of victims. Families, especially parents and children of those on board, are urged to submit their DNA samples at the designated site.
फ्लाइट के जो पैसेंजर हैं, उनके जो सगे हैं, नजदीक के सगे हैं, उनसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि डीएनए टेस्टिंग की व्यवस्था हम लोगों ने बीजे मेडिकल कॉलेज के कसौटी भवन में की है। आप सबसे अनुरोध है, जिसमें खास तौर पे माता पिता अथवा उनके पुत्र पुत्री नजदीक के सगाओं में होते हैं, आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप डीएनए सैंपल के लिए कसौटी भवन में बनी हुई व्यवस्था पर अपने सैंपल दें, ताकि दुर्घटना के जो विक्टिम है उनका आइडेंटिफिकेशन जल्दी से हो सके। प्लेन के जो मुसाफिर हैं, उनके रिलेटिव और बाकी जो इजा होके घायल होके सिविल हॉस्पिटल आए हैं, उनके सगे संबंधियों को अगर किसी भी तरह की पूछताछ करनी है, ज़्यादा माहिती की जरूरत है, तो उसके लिए सिविल हॉस्पिटल अहमदाबाद ने 2 हेल्पलाइन नंबर शुरू किए हैं। एक नंबर है 63 57 37 38 31 एवं दूसरा नंबर है 63 57 37 38 41। इन दो नंबर पे आप माहिती के लिए संपर्क कर सकते हैं।
Union Minister of Civil Aviation Ram Mohan Naidu Kinjarappu took stock of the situation at the Air India plane crash site. He reviewed the ongoing rescue and relief operations and coordinating with officials from DGCA, AAI, Air India, NDRF, SDRF and the local administration to ensure all necessary support is provided. An operational control room has been activated at the Ministry of Civil Aviation to coordinate all details, and the helpline numbers so far are 011-24610-843 and 9650-391-859.
I'm totally shaken by the incident that has happened today near Ahmedabad airport. Very tragic and very, very horrific. And even till now, I have to say I'm in a state of shock. When the event happened, I was in Vijayawada doing the review of that airport and attending one state program. But the moment I got to know this incident happened, I wanted to be here physically at the site, try to find out more about what happened and what needs to be done. And also Honorable PM has called me and also told me to be there at the site and also look into the operations which is going on right now. And right now, if you ask me, I can only think about the passengers, their families, what they might be going through, and especially the civilians also who are there near the crash site. A lot of relief effort has been done already, right from Indian Army, NDRF, state police, medical departments, including aviation concerned departments. Everyone has attended immediately. The fire department, to the best of their abilities, they have been functioning here and doing the rescue operations. And we still have to find out the numbers. I don't want to put any wrong numbers to you, so we still have to go through the numbers.
Following the Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner crash near Ahmedabad, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau has dispatched its investigation team, including the Director General, to Ahmedabad. They are tasked with investigating the cause of the crash. President Draupadi Murmu has expressed deep distress on the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad. On social media site X, she said that it is a heart-rending disaster. She has extended her thoughts and prayers with the affected people. She further added that the nation stands with them in this hour of indescribable grief. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed grief over the incident. In a post on X, he said, and I quote him, "The tragedy in Ahmedabad has stunned and saddened us. It is heartbreaking beyond words. In this sad hour, my thoughts are with everyone affected by it. I have been in touch with the ministers and authorities who are working to assist those affected." The state government of Gujarat has set up a control room at the State Emergency Operations Centre in connection with the Ahmedabad plane crash. The concerned can contact the control room on phone number 079-232-51900 and mobile number 99784-05304. I repeat, mobile number 99784-05304 and 079-232-51900. Speaking on the incident, Gujarat police said that the flight crashed shortly after it took off and crashed onto a building which, as per reports, was a doctor's hostel.
एयर इंडिया की जो लंदन जाने वाली फ्लाइट थी वो टेक ऑफ के बाद यहाँ पे क्रैश हो गई है, जिसमें प्रिलिमिनरी हमें पता चला है कि 223 जितने पैसेंजर थे। यहाँ पे जिस बिल्डिंग के ऊपर गिरी है वो डॉक्टर्स का हॉस्टल है। इंसिडेंट बनने के विदिन 2-3 मिनट्स में पुलिस, बाकी सभी बॉडियाँ, सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, कॉर्पोरेशन वगैरह सभी लोग आ गए थे। फायर फाइटर वगैरह स्थल पे हाजिर है। लोगों को बचाने की और रेस्क्यू करने की कार्रवाई जारी है। ऑलमोस्ट 70 से 80% एरिया हमने क्लीन कर लिया, बाकी आने समय में हम लोग क्लियर कर लेंगे।
In a post on X, Union Home Minister Amit Shah informed that response forces have been quickly rushed to the crash site. Minister Shah spoke with Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, State Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi and the Commissioner of Police Ahmedabad to assess the situation. And Home Minister Amit Shah has departed for the crash site in Ahmedabad to take stock of the situation in a special plane. He will be reaching Ahmedabad shortly. Now, following the crash, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, Government of India, activated an operational control room in New Delhi to monitor the situation and coordinate all necessary emergency response measures. Taking to social media platform X, the Airport Authority of India, AAI, said that in light of the recent incident involving Air India flight AI-171, an operational control room has been activated at the Ministry of Civil Aviation to oversee and coordinate all necessary response measures. For assistance or information, one can contact the Delhi control room. The numbers on your screen now: 011-24610-843 and mobile number 96503-91859. Operational control room in Ahmedabad's numbers are 99784-05304 and 07923251900. Further, it was said that the authority remains fully committed to ensuring a prompt and coordinated response, and they will extend their complete support to all those affected. India's Ministry of External Affairs, during a weekly media briefing, has condoled the tragic incident in Ahmedabad. Spokesperson in the MEA, Ministry of External Affairs, Ranveer Jaiswal, expressed his deepest condolences to those who lost their loved ones. He added that it is still an evolving situation and rescue operations are underway.
What has happened in Ahmedabad is a very tragic accident. We have lost a lot of people. We extend our deepest condolences to all those who have lost their loved ones. There are, I understand, several foreigners also. Those updates you will receive from the relevant departments, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Air India, and others. We also, it's still an evolving situation. Rescue operations are on, so you'll have to wait a little more time for exact details to be put out.
The British High Commission in India said that British nationals who require consular assistance or have concerns about their friends or family can call on 020-7008-5000. It further said on X, and I quote, "We are aware that a flight from Ahmedabad to London has crashed near Ahmedabad airport. We are working with local authorities to urgently establish the facts and provide support. Our thoughts are with all those affected," unquote. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, receiving the updates, expressed deep sorrow, saying his thoughts are with the passengers and their families during this harrowing tragedy. Starmer tweeted, and I quote him, "The scenes emerging of a London-bound plane carrying many British nationals crashing in the Indian city of Ahmedabad are devastating. I am being kept updated as the situation develops, and my thoughts are with the passengers and their families at this deeply distressing time." The British High Commission in India said that British nationals who require consular assistance or have concerns about friends and family can call on the number 020-7008-5000. UK Foreign Minister David Lammy said that he is deeply saddened by the India plane crash. He added that Britain had activated a crisis team in both New Delhi and in London.
Speaker, my thoughts, and I'm sure those of the entire House, are with those who've been affected by the tragic plane crash in India this morning. We know that British nationals were on board, and Mr. Speaker, I can confirm that the FCDO is working urgently with local authorities to support British nationals and their families, and has stood up a crisis team in both Delhi and in London.
Britain's King Charles said on Thursday that he was desperately shocked by the Air India plane crash in the western Indian city of Ahmedabad, with passengers including 53 Britons and 1 Canadian. In an official statement, the royal family said that their special prayers and deepest possible sympathies are with the families and friends of all those affected by this appallingly tragic incident across so many nations. They also paid tribute to the heroic efforts of the emergency services and all those providing help and support at this most heartbreaking and traumatic time. President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, also expressed her condolences. She wrote on X, heartbreaking news from India with the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad. My deepest condolences to the families and loved ones grieving this terrible loss. We share your pain. Dear Narendra Modi, Europe stands in solidarity with you and the people of India in this moment of sorrow. European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas also expressed her grief. She said that her thoughts are with the families of the passengers and crew and with all those affected by this tragedy. French President Emmanuel Macron also expressed grief over the tragedy, posting on X handle, and I quote him, "We have learned with deep emotion of the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad, India. In this time of sorrow, I extend our heartfelt thoughts to the victims' loved ones and to Prime Minister Narendra Modi." Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney also extended condolences. In a post on X, he said, and I quote, "Devastated to learn of the crash of a London-bound Air India plane in Ahmedabad carrying 242 passengers, including 1 Canadian. My thoughts are with the loved ones of everyone on board. Canada's transportation officials are in close contact with the counterparts, and I'm receiving regular updates as the response to this tragedy unfolds." Unquote. And further, the High Commission of Canada has expressed their deepest condolences following the tragic plane crash in Ahmedabad. They have extended their thoughts with the families and loved ones of the victims. And very quickly, let's bring in DD India's Jessica Taneja with us now. Jessica, words of solidarity expressed by world leaders there.
Mentioned all the world leaders that have, extended their condolences to their Indian counterpart, to the Prime Minister, as well as the, as well as the families who've lost their loved ones, and not just the Indians, but also citizens of Britain as well. Part of this fatal crash that took place a short while ago in Gujarat. While we've heard from the world leaders, we've also been given to understand that there are various dynamics at play here on the ground. It is certainly getting a lot difficult for rescue operations as well because of reports of certain oil spill as well in the area. And remember, the aircraft crashed into a hostel, a medical students hostel. So a lot of reports are still waiting, but the confirmation that has come in, of course, is certainly sad at a moment where these pictures that we're seeing on our TV screens right now, nobody, or I think they were not expected on any lines. It is just 5 minutes after the aircraft had taken off that this tragic incident took place. So certainly world leaders, along with others as well, extending their condolences, not just to the families, but also to the Indian authorities.
Flight that crashed today is one of Boeing's Dreamliner fleet. Boeing has been in recovery mode for more than 6 years now Does the incident today brings forth more problems for Boeing?
Well, it certainly does. If you look at the kind of reports that are emerging from the Federal Aviation Administration of the United States, the status of what Boeing as a company has not, that it did enjoy, particularly earlier and more than a decade ago, was because of its engineering marvels. And now certainly there have been questions and some issues even dragged to court when it comes to Boeing's inadequacy, its incapability of dealing with repeated failures, be it the report suggesting where Boeing was time and again by its own engineers, one of the whistleblowers who had pointed out certain issues even with the Dreamliner in 2022, while Boeing said that they had investigated it. While there have been no crashes, particularly of the Boeing Dreamliner, which has been one of their aircraft that hasn't seen any fatality, so to say, in the recent past. It has been the Boeing Max that was grounded for many years just because of the kind of repeated failures and the incidents that we saw. Then we would recall in 2024, it was certainly a moment to reconsider when Boeing planes, not just in India but around the world, were facing technical issues to the extent where a door plug went off in 2024 in one of the flights from Reagan to Ontario. And certainly issues were raised time and again about what is Boeing doing, is it listening to its engineers or not. But those are the questions best left answered by the administration and its internal tussles. But here in India, we're dealing with a much bigger tragedy where lives of people, not just inside the aircraft, but also the ones who were in that hostel compound also seem to have suffered quite a bit. Reports initially suggesting that there are quite a few fatalities along with people who are very seriously injured. But the question comes back, what is the answer that Boeing is going to give when it comes to this particular crash? But we'll have to wait and see for the reports to emerge and to have more critical analysis of whether it was a problem in Boeing, in its engineering, in its fixes, or was it a bird, perhaps a bird strike that also leads to many incidents in the past. We all know, we've seen that as well. Although air travel is considered safe, but in the recent past, we have seen incidents which need to be addressed immediately and on a permanent basis, because both in India, at least if we talk about 91% of the travel, the air travel is managed by both Indigo and Air India. So certainly questions will be asked and answers will have to be given.
So questions certainly will be asked to Air India and Boeing. But for now, Jessica, let's play for our viewers what Boeing has said in its statement. Airline manufacturer Boeing has extended support and said that the team is in contact with Air India regarding Flight 171. The team in a statement said that their thoughts are with the passengers, crew, first responders and all affected. So the Air India plane crash was a Boeing Dreamliner, one of the Boeing Dreamliner fleet. Now we have with us our guests on the show. Captain Surjit Ojha, a commercial pilot, is with us, and we also have with us Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, former DG Inspection and Safety from the Indian Air Force. Surjit ji, I'll first come to you. Apparently there was a mayday call immediately after takeoff and the plane went into a descent before crashing. What does that suggest, if anything, about the likely cause of the crash?
Mayday is a call which is given at utmost emergency. So seeing that into a scenario, I think right after the takeoff, the pilots must have seen the parameters and they have come to a conclusion that the parameters are not well. Seeing the videos, what I can see from the videos which are live in the cameras and everything, the landing gears are still down, which means that they are into a situation where they have already come to a conclusion that something or the other is not right. We'll come to a conclusion right after the investigation is completed. Till that time, we cannot come to an accurate conclusion. But seeing the mayday call, we are definitely sure that pilot has come to know, Captain Sabrawal has come to know that there must be some parameter issue, the thrust issue, or the lift issue, or maybe the airfoil issue, whatsoever there can be an issue. So there is a parameter message which is indicated in a Boeing 787 right above the parameters column, where it shows that if there is any kind of fault or any kind of situation, it pops up on the screen, and the pilot is right aware that, yeah, so they need to act. I think that's my perspective. Then the pilot has come to his knowledge that they have to issue a mayday call. Seeing the landing gear down, like as I told you earlier, as per the 787 SOP, right after 50 feet of climb, the landing gear should be up. But after what I'm seeing in flight radar 24, that the aircraft has climbed to a height of approximately 475 feet, which is a good number of height, but the landing is still up. So I'm not sure that they have put up the landing gear down again, because as the aircraft was not climbing, it was not a wise option to put the landing gear down. So seeing that, the condolences are always with the pilots and their family, the crew members. But we'll definitely have to wait for the investigation. When the investigation is done by the operator, by the Boeing, then we'll come to a conclusion that what was the actual cause of the incident, actual cause of the accident, basically.
And one of the part of the investigation will be to find the black box. What is the kind of information that the black box will be able to provide that could help in determining the cause of this fatal crash?
The black box has data related to the flight. It's on the complete record of the flight data. It's a flight data recorder is also available. It's orange in color, and basically it's in such a place where it is. I know that it won't be destroyed, and it will be retrieved from the crash site, and they will be able to figure out that what has happened to the aircraft and what all possible maneuvers were made, what all inputs were done by the pilot, what was the input and what was the output due to that, what was the parameters on which the aircraft was working in, what was the engine temperature, what was the oil temperature, what was the combustion temperature, everything will be there. And because of that, only the investigation can come to a conclusion that this is the actual cause of the accident. And then it will be very clear and very evident, like you can, all the previous crashes of different airlines all around the like it's a 1 in a million case. So Boeing is a very safe aircraft, and 787, the Dreamliner, is one of the safest aircraft in the world right now. Keeping that in mind, this is a 1 in a million case, and that is what the stats says. So it doesn't, like, obviously we have faced a huge loss, but I always reach out to the passengers who are going to travel. Don't be scared. It's a 1 in a million case. So we'll see how the investigation goes on.
Okay. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor is also joining us. He's former DG Inspection and Safety, Indian Air Force. Would you also agree, sir, that it is once in a million case where, where controls like these are loosened and such a crash is in front of us?
See, it's a very unfortunate, and the real story will only emerge. It's all speculation at this stage. We are just guessing the cause of the accident by inputs from the various people who have been associated with aviation. But exactly what went into in the cockpit for those 50 odd seconds, because as per the ADSB data which certain channels are showing, the aircraft had attained a height of around 425 feet at the end of the runway before it commenced its descent, and was descending at the rate of 475 feet per minute. So if that information and data is correct, the crew precisely had 50 seconds from the highest point at the end of the runway till crash. And in that 50 seconds, the crew would have, has already given a mayday call, and it would be trying its best to revive the engines, because apparently, as it appears, the engines have given way, whether it is one or two. And a mayday call always indicates that there is something very serious in the aeroplane, which the crew has alerted people. Also, the attitude which I'm seeing in the videos, which some person has taken from the rooftop, indicates that the aircraft is at extremely low speeds because the nose is up. And as the nose is up, the aircraft is trying to maintain straight and level flight. And so we are at a situation where we are descending close to ground, and the aircraft is at a very low speed. So there is hardly any bandwidth for the aircraft to be maneuvered. So hypothetically, if the speed was more or if the height was more, there were chances of aircraft to be turned around and landed on the reciprocal runway or on a single engine if the emergency so existed to carry out a short circuit approach and landing, or if things were normal, to be radar vectored and brought back the aircraft. But a fully loaded aeroplane with about 120 odd tons of fuel, with full passenger load, and an emergency which is requiring a mayday call would have further compounded the issue on a very hot afternoon at Ahmedabad. And also there is a lot of bird activity, as I'm seeing on your channel now, the building which you're showing, some bird activity, extensive bird activity, because Ahmedabad runway is surrounded by a large amount of buildings and population areas. So these leads to a lot of birds flying and a lot of obstructions which have come up over the years. It could be the TV antennas, it could be dishes, it could be added floors on top of the buildings, the water tanks and others, which the crew was always wary of in the funnel. So when any pilot comes in for landing or is taking off, we are very, very wary of these obstructions which come in the approach or the takeoff funnel. So this would also added this plonking of the aircraft over a medical college building, is also a part, because that is in the funnel, so as to say. So these areas are to be cleared, and I'm sure after this accident, a lot of regulation and things would be put in place to make sure that these kind of accidents don't happen again. And this would be one of the recommendations in my guess, wherein an audit will have to be done around all major airfields in this country to see if there are any obstructions around which need to be removed.
Indeed. Captain Surjit, in case of a plane crash, what are the extent of civil liabilities or compensation for the airline? And under what conditions does the manufacturer of the plane have to pay compensation?
Ma'am, the manufacturer of the plane has to be in the conventions, and they are liable for the manufacturing of the aircraft, and there is no such regulation as per now which make the Boeing liable for any kind of compensation as per right now in India. So if,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So keeping that in mind, when the investigation will be done, and as per the different test flights and all which has been conducted, there has been clear cut, the manufacturing default is not an option. The manufacturer has tested it. The fleet size has been properly tested in every possible aspect. The different parameters, the different aspect in which it can go to any kind of emergencies, everything must be tested before the launch. And Boeing 787 Dreamliner, as I told you earlier, is one of the best machine one can ever fly. So keeping that in mind, I don't think there can be any kind of manufacturing defect which can bring some kind of issue.
Okay. Marshal Kapoor, but whistleblowers have reportedly been voicing concerns about alleged flaws in Boeing's Dreamliner aircraft. Do you think these concerns are serious enough for Boeing to sufficiently address them now?
There have been reports of a lot of compromises. The whistleblower and the internal audits of Boeing which have been published. It all started after 737 MAX accidents which happened a few years ago. Now, in my analysis, the FDR and CVR would be milked first. It will give a pattern as to what happened in the last moments. This video which some person has taken from the rooftop would be of great importance to all the accident investigating people, because in a typical accident investigation, months go by to, or weeks go by to make the flight path of the aircraft before the crash. But here we have a visual, so that makes the job of the investigators easy. Now, if in the CVR and FDR certain analysis indicate that it is a malfunction, it would be collaborated with the whistleblower's report. Now, if certain systems that the whistleblower has said were a shortcut kind of a way was taken to assemble the aircraft and roll it out, which I read somewhere, which the speculation and the acquisitions have been on Boeing. And if it collaborates with whatever comes out in our investigation, then of course the whole issue will be taken in another manner. It could be any of the factors. It could be an engine failure. It could be an engine fire. It could be bird ingestion in both the aeroplanes. It could have been a serious technical malfunction wherein the crew were unable, to get the power back and take the aircraft out of this descending path immediately after takeoff. Because as a pilot, as a crew member, these kind of emergencies are routinely practiced. They are practiced in every simulator sortie, they are practiced in every check sortie, they are practiced in every test which they go through routinely. And the aircraft has just flown in from Delhi at Ahmedabad. So I'm sure all the other systems and functions would have worked normally before it landed in Ahmedabad. It would have just refueled, turned around, loaded the passengers for on way to London. But by all means, the aircraft would have been fully loaded, full fuel, hot day. So these are contributing factors towards recovery, but in no way would be, adding on to the accident, because the performance parameters the computers would have calculated, and the crew checks the serviceability of all the engine parameters before they release the brake before departure. So I'm sure the crew would have done all these things, and a guy with about 8,000 plus hours of flying and having flown 787 for long, I'm sure would have been aware of all the things which a lot of media channels are now speculating.
Okay. Captain Surjit, with this crash, the spotlight is back on India's history with aviation disasters. And if I look back at the list, since 2000, Air India flights feature most in that list. So is it time for Air India specifically to take a rehaul of its services?
Ma'am, I don't agree to that much.
Okay.
Air India has been maintaining its, just after the transition from the government body to Tata, Air India has been doing a lot of things. The crashes, this is one of the major crashes. I think there has been a lot of accidents and all.
Yes, you're right. This is one of the major crashes. Yes.
It is not one of the, it is the biggest accident which has ever happened. And I think this is the first accident which has occurred right after takeoff. So, and I am very sure that I am very confident on the engineers. I'm very confident about the department, the maintenance department, and the pilots. The safety concern has always been there around the corner, but that is from the passenger side. They tell that the AC is not working, this is not working. But you cannot release that aircraft if there is any point of chance that it is not safe to fly. The aircrafts are being checked every day and before every flights. The pilots check it, the engineers check it, everyone is taking care of it. So safety is not a concern. And the main concern right now, as Himanshu sir told, that there could be any kind of factor, but not the safety concern, because that cannot be taken lightly. People tell a lot of things about different airlines, comes into news channels and come to articles that this has not been done. But as per our jurisdiction, as per my judgment, I completely feel I am with the airlines and with the engineers that what they are doing, they know what they are doing. They're a good team, and they have been taking care of this aircraft every day, and thousands of flights are flying every week. So it's just incident which has been one of caused a major accident. There can be any factor, as sir told, maybe
we still are ascertaining the cause. Yes, you have a point there. Marshal Kapoor, do you see a need of greater scrutiny of all aircraft operations in India's civil aviation sector? And if so, which specific areas need special attention?
Sure, there would be a lot of discussion post this accident. immediately today and in next coming days, the whole focus would be to ascertain the losses, the human lives, matching the DNAs, returning the mortal remains to the families, get the things going. But after that, I'm sure the people who matter would be sitting down to discuss what happened and what can be done that we don't have this kind of an accident ever again. And what are the environmental factors, what are the safety factors, what additional checks and procedures, and what additional guidelines should be put. So in my appreciation, there would be 2 or 3 kind of verticals which the Civil Aviation Ministry would be looking at after they take the inputs from all the stakeholders. One would be giving instructions to the Urban Development Ministry and to all the local bodies, the city municipal corporations, to ensure that there are no obstacles in both the approach path and in the takeoff path of all the runways across the country. Because hypothetically, if that was a clear ground today, it was, if the aircraft was not over any built-up area, we would have had much more survivors, even with all what has happened today. It is just that it is too populated and congested an area, and we have lost so many people on ground. And if it was an open area, we would have been able to save a large number of people in the aeroplane. So there is a huge thing which the government would be looking at. Secondly, in my opinion, would be the training process. In this inquiry, I'm sure the European Aircraft Regulatory Agency, the FAA, and the other Boeing representatives would also form a part along with the DGCA team to inquire. And they would be looking into all aspects of the complaints and the other things which are coming up in social media about the practices which have been going around. But to say that the aircraft was not okay, I don't agree, primarily at this stage, because it has flown in directly, and just a few minutes before this flight, it has come from Delhi to Ahmedabad. So every system and every function of this aeroplane would have been checked in this leg. And once the aircraft is operational, and each aircraft before its departure is certified by the technical team of that company, so they check everything. And once they give go ahead, then only the aircraft is started up to taxi out for the runway. So once the captain would have checked the aircraft on the runway before takeoff, he would have ascertained all the parameters are normal. Now there is something which has happened, which all of us would like to know as the investigations come out, that what happened immediately after getting airborne, that the crew had to give a mayday call. A mayday call is very rare in any commercial aeroplane. In Air Force, in our fighters and other tactical missions and other aircrafts, we do have a few calls here and there when the aircraft is in grave danger. But to get a mayday call from a Dreamliner immediately getting airborne is something which is abnormal. So I'm sure the accident investigation agencies would look into this aspect.
Okay.
And of course, the other factors of the weight, altitude, temperature, performance, the settings, the flaps, slat settings, the undercarriage positions would emerge in the investigation.
Okay. As we speak, news just coming in from the crash site now. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has arrived at the Ahmedabad plane crash site. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu and Gujarat Home Minister Harsh Sanghvi are also with him. And Home Minister Amit Shah currently taking stock of the tragic incident at the site of the Ahmedabad Air India plane bound for London Gatwick there. Okay, Captain Surjit, yes, sir was telling us about how rare a mayday call is. In your experiences that you must have encountered in, emergency situations, it's a tough, obviously every pilot wants to minimize casualties in certain situations. What are the challenges that a pilot feels in these extraordinary circumstances when you know that the machine that you're driving is not functioning to the best of its ability?
Ma'am, it is now told that AI is like changing everything, but what we feel that pilot is a pilot for this particular day, when there is some kind of emergency, when there is some kind of situation. A pilot is a pilot just because to handle their nerves, work efficiently, and make sure that the passengers sitting back are safely landed, they safely reach their home. We are well trained about every other aspect about this particular points. There are engine failure training. There are sim sessions, as like Himanshu sir just told us. There are different sessions of training. There are EPRT tests. There are multi-crew coordination tests. We basically undergo all of this training every 6 months, 4 months, 3 months. We have to undergo the simulator session in which we practice this particular emergency situation. We make sure that the pilots are there, and when the situation comes like this or something other than this, the pilot is efficiently aware and they know what they are going to do and how they are going to act. Yeah, there can be some dangerous scenario just like this, but mostly every particular situation is recorded and the pilot is trained according to that. And I am very sure DGC will also make some guidelines if there is some kind of output or input from this particular incident, that whatever needs to be done will be done along. And as I told, with Boeing and with DGCA, they should come into coordination, and they should come to undergo investigation and come to a conclusion that this is what we need apart from all the trainings we undergo. If there is something, but I don't think there is something apart from this. We as a pilot are very capable of handling any kind of situation at any phase of flight, either it's an upwind, downwind, takeoff path, approach path, whatsoever.
Okay, Marshal Kapoor, your thoughts on what lessons should be drawn from today's disaster? You have mentioned about the areas near the runways that need to be cleared off construction. But apart from that, what other lessons do you think one can draw from today's disaster?
First, do an audit of all the aeroplanes. We must ascertain the engine performance, because if the engine of the aeroplane malfunctions and don't give adequate thrust, which was indicated today. So a one-time check, in my opinion, on all the engines to check its serviceability and other parameters is in order. And also to relook at the crew training to give us some sort of a small portion on simulators, or to once again revise this kind of emergencies, the critical emergencies which occur immediately after takeoff, just to make sure that the crew are better prepared if similar situation occurs again. Of course, the final thing will come up once the investigation concludes, and in my appreciation, it will involve the reps from Boeing, FAA, the European aircraft agencies, and of course our own Indian agencies. And many a times they co-opt the Indian Air Force accident investigation teams. It has happened in the past. So I don't know whether this time they will request the Indian Air Force people also to join. So in the Indian Air Force, we have a special cell which runs the only course this nation conducts on accident investigation. It is done for 3 months, and it's a well-recognized course globally, wherein every person, be it an engineer, be it a pilot, be it any person involved, a technician, is put through to find out what can go wrong, and also looking at the debris and looking at the spread, they can ascertain as to what could have happened just seeing the flight path. So these kind of trainings and other kind of activities do happen. So probably one more suggestion I have through your channels, that I feel a large number of people in civil aviation need to come to the Air Force to go through this kind of course, because eventually with India becoming one of the largest civil aviation market in the world. We will need more and more people who are qualified to check and see on the accident prevention and accident investigation kind of verticals. So we need experts, and probably in our country, it's only the Indian Air Force today which has this capability. So this is one more suggestion to the others which I've just added.
Okay, very briefly, Captain Surjit, would you like to add to the list of suggestions or lessons that are drawn from today's disaster?
I will just like to add one thing through your channel to all the passengers who are there, who are scared a little bit for the air travel. In fact, there are a lot of people who are scared now due to this particular disaster. I'll just ask everyone, and I like to tell everyone, just stay confident and trust the procedure, trust the training program, trust your pilot, trust the aircraft. Again, so that will create a confidence in air travel, and this is again 1 in a million case.
Okay.
So everything will be there, and everything will come out crystal clear right after the investigation is done. But till then, I'll just like to give my deepest condolences to all the crew members, the pilots, the passenger, and the people down there.
Yes, thank you very much, Captain Surjit Ojha, Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, for being with us. Yes, our thoughts and prayers are with all those who have lost their lives in this fatal Air India plane crash. Lots of investigation and analysis is yet to unfold over the coming days. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, in the wake of the tragic airplane crash at Ahmedabad, Western Railway has swiftly mobilized its Railway Protection Force and medical teams to extend all possible support in the rescue and relief operations. 6 doctors and 20 staff, along with 7 ambulances, were dispatched from Divisional Railway Hospital at Sabarmati Workshop, Vatva and Ahmedabad, ensuring timely medical assistance. Western Railway's RPF disaster management team and hospital team is working shoulder to shoulder with sister agencies, offering support and compassion during this difficult time. Western Railway's Ahmedabad division remains fully prepared to provide further assistance as needed, standing united in this hour of grief. Additionally, Western Railway will operate extra trains from Ahmedabad based on demand. As of now, 1 train for Mumbai and 1 train for Delhi is being planned from Ahmedabad. Western Railway is extending full support to state government, including readiness to run more special trains and assist with coordinated relief operations. And Indian Army teams comprising nearly 130 personnel have been deployed to assist civil administration in the ongoing humanitarian assistance and disaster relief efforts following the crash of an Air India flight near Ahmedabad. The Indian Army's response includes engineering teams with JCBs for debris clearance, medical teams comprising doctors and paramedics, quick action teams, firefighting assets with fire extinguishers and water bowsers, and provost staff for site management. The military hospital has been placed on standby. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates from India and the world. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.